Thank you so much. Leshan, welcome to this fantastic event. Now, we've heard a lot of examples from Zambia and from around the world, but we did not look at Kenya. And I know that what's happening in Kenya is pretty extraordinary, and notably what you're doing in the Enonkishu, excuse me, Conservancy, which is close to the Masai Mara. The Masai Mara, for those of you who don't know, is that iconic areas in southern Kenya where the wildebeest come as part of their migration across the Serengeti. The main industry there is tourism, and it's hardly surprising if you've been to the area. Leshan, over to you.
Hello everyone. I'm Leshan Nampaso, working for an conservancy as the grazing manager and for Mara Training Center as the lead trainer, which is a certified hub for the several institutes here in Kenya. Practical experience of an conservancy, which is actually, we normally say, building community resilience through wildlife conservancy, which maybe you all know that in the Masai Mara, all of the community land is now under conservancies. Whereby we have about 25 conservancies in the Masai Mara, all of them trying to practice holistic management, which Kishu Conservancy and Mara Training Center are tasked or in charge of training all the conservancies about holistic management. So Kishu Conservancy is a community-owned conservancy whereby we have a 50-50 partnership or ownership with our tourism partners, where the tourism partners help pay for the leases to conserve the land to allow wildlife to move along, and the community brings in land. So it's a 50-50 ownership. It is other conservancies around the world because it's normally tourism partners who run all the operations around the conservancies. The Nampaso Conservancy is about 6,000 acres and situated in the northern side of Masai Mara, which we normally call it the last line of defense, because Nampaso Conservancy borders a farming community where people do maize farming and other cash crop farming. And now the elephants can cross to their farms and so on. And we're trying to mitigate that through an integration of a well-balanced of managed system. The Nampaso has about 41 landowners, and funny enough or interestingly enough, 17 of those members are women, which is not so common in Masai land because women never own land. Under Nampaso Conservancy, we have a livestock management program, which we call it Hard for Growth, whereby the landowners and the tourism partners came together to improve the Masai cow, which is known for its resilience and good feed conversion. And now we introduce Boran bulls to improve the genetics of the herd and reach or help the farmers get good market prices. And as you can see on those pictures there, those are 6 months calves, which in a normal setting with a Maasai cow, it should be very, very small. And now this livestock is a joint venture where the landowners can sell all together and subdivide the proceeds from the livestock as an additional source of income apart from tourism, because tourism is the main source of income as we talk in the Masai Mara. But now we are trying to bring the aspect where we match in the Masai culture with conservation. In many other conservancies, they don't allow livestock in the conservancy. They have what we call core areas where livestock never goes in throughout the year. But now, for our case, we allow our livestock to move in all our conservancy in a managed way under holistic plant grazing. Yeah, what you're seeing now is a very integral part in what has made Enonkishu successful or help combat land degradation. Because when we started, as you see in the first picture, most of Enonkishu looked so bare. It was a closely 97% bare, whereby we introduced not only holistic plant grazing, but we also integrated another way of mimicking the Maasai culture of moving around. And we introduced mobile bombers, as we call in Kenya, or as most of you know, mobile corrals, whereby we put the livestock in the blocks that they are grazing in to help reduce tracking and also save the cow the energy to gain weight. So the mobile bombers are moved in two particular ways. One of them is from one block to another one, and there is also movement within a block. As you see in the second top picture, you see cows in the bomber, which are so much concentrated, and the bomber is circular, so that in case we have a stampede or we have lions trying to stampede the cows, they will always run in a circular motion and they will not have the chance to knock the bomber down. And from this, we are trying to maximize the hard effect, or where cows will trample the hard ground, help us deposit manure, which also carries seeds. And now on like the second last picture, you see several dark spots moving around the conservancy, which help regrow grass and compact bare soil. So before we were doing what we call holistic plant grazing, whereby we were moving livestock around the conservancy under the Savory Institute way of doing holistic plant grazing. But from that, we noticed that our cows were still doing selective grazing, even under bunching and moving way. We have a dominant grass in the Masai Mara called Sporobolus fideramis, which you see on the second picture, which looks like small stalks. And the grass, when it reaches maturity, the cows hardly graze it. So we opted to introduce or integrate an intense or what we call ultra high density grazing, which we are now 2 weeks into it, or we are heading to the second week, whereby we are using the electric fences to bunch the cows and maximize on the hard effect and hard density to allow the cows to graze. As you see in the next picture, you can see where the cows have grazed for an hour, because now we move our cows. We do 5 rotations in a day, about 500 cows grazing an acre every hour. Uh, and we move on throughout the day like that. And you see the before and after grazing, you can clearly see the impact. Where the livestock, you could, if you look closely, you see cow manure all concentrated in one place. And also the grazing is non-selective, and even the sporobolas that were less preferred by the cow is now being grazed, which we are looking forward and to see how it will go. Uh, what you are looking at now in your screen is we call it photo series, which is basically what we call biological monitoring, which we are trying to monitor the impact of our livestock uh, or our livestock uh, grazing. This is one particular point we call block 10, and we monitor one spot every 3 or 4 times in a year, and we take a picture to see the change. And as you can see, it's been impressive from 2017 all the way. And this is same month, same place, different years. So biological monitoring is where we monitor about 19 parameters, Some of them are overgrazing, overresting, water infiltration, plant diversity, density, and so on. So these are some of the pictures that we take, and the results we get from here help inform the decisions that we make. And in terms of our grazing, what do we need to actually improve? One other thing is, as I have mentioned earlier, we used to do holistic plant grazing where the cows will just move randomly in blocks and bunging and moving. And what we're seeing here is we've integrated trackers to help us monitor how our cows are actually grazing around our blocks. And this is to help improve our rangeland utilization and the grazing intensity. So what you see in the first place is the first picture is a cow tracks that the trackers record in each particular day. And what you see in the second picture is the density, how often cows are in one particular place. And the red place is where we find livestock commonly staying in one place, which indicates maybe it's the mobile corrals or cows are spending most time there. And this is where we call our herders in and try to understand the reason why cows are spending more time in a particular place. And most of these times, they will say maybe we have lions, we have elephants, which is a threat to their own security. And we try to integrate when we're making our next grazing plan, we try to bring in all these aspects of wildlife and cattle in together to see maybe how to all coexist in the same range. Uh, One of the greatest things that we've seen is when we started in Onkishu, as you see in the first picture, it was completely bare. And that's around 2015. And that's when we started doing regenerative grazing and improving the livestock breed. And now you can see what the ripple effect is happening. So we started from bare land. We introduced livestock. We introduced holistic plant grazing. We started managing livestock uh, as as um, as required. And then now we see grass coming back. And impressively enough, around 2021, we had a very, very severe drought in Kenya. And we helped host around an extra 2,000 or 3,000 uh, cows from drought, which are coming from different places in Kenya, to Kishu Conservancy, which is 6,000 acres for 6 months. And we had our herd that was closely 1,000. So you see, we were able to sustain on the 6,000 acres with wildlife. We were able to sustain about 4,000 livestock for 6 months. And this now brought in back the wildlife, and the wildlife now brought predators, and now we have the predator prey connections, and now we see tourists coming in, and now the community is benefiting from only doing livestock management, grass coming back, wildlife coming back, and now tourism, which is our main source of income, is flourishing. And on top of that, we also have the wildlife, the livestock profits that we get from selling our cow. So I think, in a nutshell, that is what Enonkisha Conservancy is about, and that's what we're trying to do to improve our range and to also benefit
Thanks.
the community and build conservancies.
Thanks, Leshan. That was absolutely fascinating. I'll note three things that I think we should remember from this. First, you're doing conservation work with livestock. You restored your ecosystems. The herbivores came back, the carnivores came back. And so the community can now make money from tourism as well as from animals. And you did that starting with bare ground. So I'd like to congratulate you on that. Second, is a little note for those who are thinking of doing the same in livestock-rich environments. Um, these electric fencing are typically rectangular blocks, and then you have problems with stampedes. You have the round bomas, and the round bomas allow you to reduce the risk that the boma will be broken when the cows get into a stampede because they panic for one reason or another. The final point I'll make is a question that I have for you, Leshan. Doing this means moving the cows very, very, very often. It means rebuilding the bomas very, very often. That's expensive in terms of labor. How expensive is it, and how does that work into your calculation?
So to first maybe elaborate further on the mobile corrals for everyone's understanding is we have the electric fences which you use to herd the cows during the day. And the cattle bombers or mobile corrals we help keep the cows at night to protect them from predators.